Welcome to Pasadena Monthly. I'm your host, Justin Chapman. After taking a look at what's been going on in Pasadena this past month, we'll speak with our guest, Pasadena Public Works Director Greg Vinck. But before we get started, let's check out these Pasadena media news briefs.
The Pasadena Heritage Bridge Party returns for its 29th year on Saturday, July 19th from 6 p.m. to 11 p.m., bringing with it one of the city's most iconic summer celebrations. Held on the historic Colorado Street Bridge, this beloved event closes the bridge to traffic for one night only, transforming it into a lively festival for the entire community. With live music on multiple stages, including performances by Mercy and the Marquettes, 63 Degrees, the Terry Kilgore Band, 10 Score, and more. The evening promises entertainment for all ages. Guests can enjoy a wide range of food and drink from local favorites like Robin's Barbecue, Dog House, Shake Shack, and All India Cafe, while kids explore fun activities and families admire a showcase of vintage cars. This year's party also features exciting new experiences, including a Waymo self-driving car display. First launched in 1978 and held every other year, the event celebrates the historic bridge and the efforts by Pasadena Heritage to preserve it for future generations. Tickets start at just $30, and kids under 12 get in free. All proceeds support Pasadena Heritage's mission to preserve and protect the city's architectural and cultural treasures. The Bridge Party offers an unparalleled opportunity to connect with over 5,000 attendees and reach more than 2 million media impressions. Sponsors and supporters play a vital role in preserving Pasadena's historic landmarks while enjoying meaningful community engagement and visibility. For more information or to get tickets, visit pasadenaheritage.org/bridgeparty.
Let's turn next to our lightning round of news updates. 1. Several days after Pasadena residents protested outside hotels where federal immigration officials were staying as they conducted raids in LA, federal officials have now targeted Pasadena. Masked agents who don't identify themselves or the agency they work for, who drive unmarked vehicles, have pulled people off the streets in various areas around the city over the past 2 or 3 weeks. One even pointed a gun at an individual who was filming them. Pasadena police are investigating that incident. One of Pasadena's Congress members, Judy Chu, among others, tried to visit an ICE detention center in LA but were denied access. Pasadena State Senator Sasha Renee Perez introduced a bill that would require federal agents to identify themselves and ban masks. Hundreds joined protests against these Trump administration immigration raids, and the Pasadena City Council unanimously approved a statement condemning them. The statement, in part, said that these, quote, reckless actions by the federal administration in Los Angeles and across the country are not about public safety. These tactics are meant to provoke fear, intimidate communities, and expand presidential power beyond constitutional limits. These actions do not make us safer. They heighten tensions, re-traumatize vulnerable communities, and threaten us all by eroding the rule of law. The Pasadena Police Department will not assist with or participate in the enforcement of federal civil immigration laws. To everyone in our city, especially those who feel afraid or targeted, know this: you belong here. Pasadena remains steadfast in our commitment to the dignity, well-being, and safety of all our residents, end quote. 2. City Council unanimously adopted the fiscal year 2025 to 26 operating budget, totaling $1 billion. An additional $446 million is earmarked for capital improvement projects for a total of nearly $1.5 billion, Pasadena's largest budget ever. However, city officials warn that looming federal funding cuts could negatively impact some city programs down the road, especially in the housing department. 3. On that note, homelessness in Pasadena increased 4% to 581 people during the 2025 homeless count. Unsheltered homelessness increased 7% to 324 people. The point-in-time count, which is usually held in January, was conducted about 6 weeks after the Eaton fire. In the separate 2024 annual count, which comes from a database that shows all people served by local homelessness service providers, there was a 5% decrease compared to the previous year, totaling 1,047 people who experienced homelessness. 270 of those people were newly unhoused, meaning more people are falling into homelessness. 4. Assemblymember John Harabedian has initiated a state audit of prevention and response efforts related to the Eaton fire, which will be carried out by the state auditor. The audit, which is expected to begin this fall, will analyze the timeline of the fire, evacuation orders, and emergency responses to assess whether systems function properly and in a timely manner. Meanwhile, the McChrystal Group, a consultant hired by LA County, continues its independent investigation into why residents in West Altadena didn't receive emergency alerts and evacuation warnings and orders that residents in East Altadena received nearly 9 hours earlier. An update is expected by July 27th. 5. Former Pasadena Unified School District Superintendent Percy Clark, who pleaded guilty last month to federal fraud charges in which he inflated and submitted false student enrollment data to the Indiana Department of Education in a scheme to collect more than $44 million in state funds, will avoid prison time as part of his plea deal. He will instead serve 5 years of probation, including 2 years of home confinement without electronic monitoring, and will be jointly responsible for $44.6 million in restitution along with 2 others. It reminded me of the time back in 2006 when Clark was fired as PUSD superintendent by the school board because he plagiarized a column he wrote for the Pasadena Weekly. In other PUSD news, the district's projected operating deficit for the next 3 fiscal years totaling more than $110 million. Superintendent Dr. Elizabeth Blanco said, without additional reductions, even larger than those recently implemented, PUSD's financial trajectory is unsustainable. Cutting 120 positions in fiscal year 2027, among other reductions, are on the table. 6. Pasadena Water and Power provided an update to the Council's Municipal Services Committee on its optimized strategic plan, which will detail how the city utility will achieve 100% carbon-free electricity by 2030. The consultant, E3, completed the portfolio development phase, which used detailed modeling to create multiple scenarios meeting clean energy goals, and the impact assessment phase, which calculated costs and identified opportunities and risks. 4 options will be presented, with 2 of them actually achieving 100% carbon-free. However, Pasadena 100, a coalition of local organizations and individuals who advocate for a clean energy future, think the plan is currently too vague and does not definitively outline goals for the utility to meet. 7. Arlington Garden is temporarily closed and programs are postponed because its primary storage shed burned down on May 21st. The shed was the beating heart of the garden, Arlington officials said, and caused significant damage to the garden's operations because it contained all of the organization's essential tools, equipment, supplies, and automated irrigation system. A GoFundMe page and a direct donation page have been set up, available at arlingtongardenpasadena.org. The cause of the fire remains under investigation. 8. The Pasadena Rental Housing Board's rental registry program so far has an 86% compliance rate and 14% non-compliance rate. Of the nearly 7,000 notices sent to tenants informing them that they could withhold rent from their landlords if they hadn't registered their properties, only 3 utilized that method. The board is now looking at other ways to achieve compliance, such as penalties and fines. The Rent Stabilization Department mailed non-compliance letters to landlords who have not registered their units. 9. The Restorative Justice Standing Committee of the Reconnecting Communities 710 Advisory Group unanimously approved an expanded definition of restorative justice. The new definition commits Pasadena to remedy these injustices for disproportionately impacted communities affected by the 710 and 210 freeways. Also, City Council approved moving forward with selling 17 vacant properties in the 710 corridor previously owned by Caltrans. All of them will be sold as is at market value by December 2026, and the proceeds will be used to acquire or produce 51 affordable units elsewhere in the city. 4 of those smaller non-historic properties are expected to be sold to a nonprofit developer for rehab and resale as affordable first-time home ownership. And 10. Council appointed 3 new members to the Community Police Oversight Commission, Latoya Patillo, Ted Smith, and Faisal Rashid. The applicants were all sponsored by community organizations. Let's welcome our guest, Greg Vinck, Director of Pasadena's Department of Public Works. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Justin. Happy to be here.
Greg has 28 years of experience in public works and was most recently the Public Works Director with the City of San Gabriel for 6 years. Prior to San Gabriel, he worked in the engineering division for the City of Santa Monica for 22 years and designed and inspected bridges in New Jersey and Ottawa, Canada. In Pasadena, he oversees a department with 281 full-time employees as of July and an annual budget of $95.8 million. So, Greg, tell us a little bit more about your career before coming to Pasadena and why you wanted to work in public works.
All right. I graduated from Rutgers University with a degree in civil engineering, and then I did about 6 years of private industry, mostly specializing in designing bridges. I did that in New Jersey for 4 years, then Canada for 2 years, and then we took a vacation to California, and Canadian winter was that much worse. So we came out to California. Santa Monica made me my best job offer at the time. I spent my career there in the engineering department, working my way up. eventually to managing staff there. Really what I learned over time, I thought in managing large construction projects and big budgets, my legacy would be the projects. But when I got into managing staff and having my own group there, it really seemed more important. My legacy felt like the people I leave behind, or mentor, or motivate or hire and encourage in their career. And then that kind of is what spurred it on. I wanted to manage more people and be more involved in managing people. From there, I was looking for an opportunity to grow, and the opportunity showed up in San Gabriel. So I left Santa Monica, went to San Gabriel, and I managed their public works department, which is a lot smaller than Pasadena. It has about 38 people. Wow. But what I really enjoy is the diversity of what public works does. Now engineering, where I kind of grew up in Santa Monica, became a small part of it. It's a significant part, but you grow into all the trades workers, all the infrastructure, the hands-on guys, and more administrative staff. And that really is just, it's fun, it's challenging, it makes the day go fast, it keeps the day interesting. I love the diversity of it. And I do live and breathe what Public Works does. I like getting my hands on. I know what they're doing, I understand what they're doing. I enjoy being with them and seeing the work happen, or guiding it, or putting my 2 cents in. So the whole career for me is kind of, it's fun. I really enjoy it.
And where are you from originally?
Originally, I was born in Montreal, but I moved to New Jersey when I was 5 and grew up there.
And so the city just passed its annual budget. What does the new fiscal year look like for the Public Works Department?
All right, that's kind of a 2-part question. We have an operating budget, which passed at $95.8 million. And that handles all our operational needs, their salaries, the fuel we buy, the materials we purchase, everything, the training, everything we do with in-house efforts and our own in-house labor. It's very extensive. It's a big department. I think it's the 3rd biggest in Pasadena. And that's what I want to do with them is focus on efficiencies. I like working on morale. I'm a big believer that people in general want to learn to do more. They want a diversified day. They like learning new things, learning new ways to think about things and do things. I really enjoy working with the people to help foster that. The other part in Pasadena is the capital improvement budget, where generally that money goes out to contracted work. That passed at $230 million funded for this year. The giant is the Pasadena Central Library seismic retrofit, which was supported by a ballot measure, and the residents of Pasadena passed that. That alone is funded at $195 million. It'll take several years, but that project is in an exciting time right now. We are just this week evaluating all the proposals from possible contractors. And just yesterday, we interviewed all the interested firms. There was 4 large contractors interested. They were interviewed yesterday. We will be going to council in July with a recommendation of who we think should get this massive project, one of the biggest Pasadena's ever done. Separate from that, there's a lot of exciting projects coming. Our Department of Transportation is going to be building a new maintenance facility as well as a hydrogen fueling station. And I think there's a lot of small projects that do matter, re-roofing some of our city buildings, street light conversions for efficiency. But the one that gets a lot of attention, a lot of unwanted attention, is street resurfacing. That council has been very supportive of recent years of supporting that with an additional roughly $5 million for the last 2 years in a row. It's continuing on this year with extra council funding. They acknowledge the issue, and they want more focus on that. I do think there's an awful lot to keep everyone busy for sure. There shouldn't be any downtime with the budgets that have been approved. It's an exciting time, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, Public Works is a huge, ubiquitous, a department that has a real impact on people's lives. Covers so many projects around the city: street repaving, infrastructure, tree trimming's part of it, trash and recycling pickup, stormwater capture, certain code compliance issues, bridge repair. Tell us more about Public Works' mission and the impact it has on quality of life in Pasadena.
All right, I think that's really a basic draw of public works to me. I think really the importance of public works is improving people's lives through infrastructure and some of the services we offer. The services like street sweeping, cleaning the sewers, trash pickup, that really has such an enormous effect on the quality of life for the population. And it's something that really nobody notices until it goes wrong.
Sure.
And sewers is the classic example. Everybody goes home and they use the sewer for laundry, for your sink, for brushing your teeth, for going to the bathroom, for showering, everything. It just works. And you don't think about it, it just works. I think it's an important part of my job to promote that what public works does in the background that makes your life better,
Right.
because it just goes unknown. As soon as a sewer backs up and then sewers flowing in the gutter or in your house, these disasters do periodically happen, then everybody knows
Right.
what public works does. So the bad attention is so easy to get. One of my functions is to lobby for the good attention.
Right.
But that's kind of more on the service side. On the infrastructure side, keeping the bridges safe, seismically retrofitting them for loading, keeping paints on the street, the markings and signage clear, the traffic signals working, the street lights operating. I'm doing another, well, it happened before I got here, but I keep pushing to do a lot of streetlight conversions to LEDs. They use much less power and the technology just keeps getting better. So, for about a third of the electricity, we're getting more foot candles on the ground,
Right.
Better quality light. They also last a lot longer. So you think about all these things, it lowers our maintenance effort. That allows staff to do other things. So there's just so much input I can have and to the resources available here just to make things run better. It really is just tremendous fun for me. I think it's the best job I could possibly have.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you mentioned, the condition of streets is obviously one of the main things residents notice. Tell us about the pavement condition index. My understanding is that Pasadena's score is relatively low, but because it's extremely expensive to maintain, let alone improve. But that under your leadership in San Gabriel, the city's score improved from 58 to 85. But break that down for us and talk to us about what can be done to improve Pasadena's streets.
Sure. I'll throw out the caveat that in San Gabriel I was lucky. I got there at a time when they actually had a lot of built up grant money that they weren't spending, almost not fast enough. So there was some reserves, and I did get, it's a much smaller city. They have, I think, 72, 75 miles of streets. Right. Here we have 350. But I did have projects there that were a little over $5 million 2 years in a row, which was more than double their average. With that extra money, I think we had an opportunity to put smart planning in, to consider alternate methodologies, to put in a good street, to preserve life of the street, to stop. Streets degrade naturally over time. They all do, even the concrete ones do. And as they degrade, if you wait too long, the cost gets away from you. It gets more and more expensive the longer you wait. So in San Gabriel, early on, I had an opportunity to do a preservative project, to put down a cheap wearing layer to stop degradation. So then we have time to catch up and do what needs to happen while the medium streets are held there and they stop from becoming the worst streets that are cost prohibitive.
Right.
We can do something similar here. Our streets are overall not good. The score in 2020 was 54. The score in December of last year is 57. They're on an upward trend, and that is because of council's recognition to invest some more money in streets. It will take a lot more. A 57 is not a score to brag about, but I do think there's a lot of strategies we're going to put in place to be more cost effective. Some of the examples is to work with some of our other groups, Water and Power, when they upgrade a water main. We can work with them where they will have to fund their trench restoration, but maybe for a little more money, we can do the street. I want to employ our own in-house staff to do more prep work for projects. some of the lighter street surfaces, not grind and replace, but the lighter coatings. You do a crack seal on the whole street. You route out weeds where they're growing. You can do some prep work. We can do that with our in-house labor, not make it a bid item, save that money, and do more lane miles. Also, a lot of in-house work we do the design work of our streets. We put out the bid packages in-house rather than hire consultants, would typically have quite a higher billing rate.
Right.
Every dollar we save is another dollar in pavement to make the street better. So there's also different techniques that maybe require less grinding, less material removal. And I also put a lot of thought into value engineering, longevity. I don't want to do a quick, cheap fix and it looks great, and then 10 years later, it's just as bad as it was. Right. It's the wrong way to do it. Even if it does cost a little more money now, you should do that. If it costs 20% more and it lasts twice as long, you do that. Right. Even though it's short term, holds our score a little lower longer, long term, it's the right thing to do. I like using alternative materials, rubberized asphalt, which I think adds tensile strength, makes the street resist cracking. It lasts longer, it rides quieter, people really like it. And then where we have some concrete streets that are really bad, concrete streets are the most expensive streets. When they're first put in, they're considered the highest quality, the longest life, but now our concrete streets are very old. They're also kind of run down. They're very expensive to fix. If you tore them all out and put concrete, we really wouldn't be able to do much with our budget. Right. So right now on Fair Oaks, we are going to be advertising a project that grinds the edges of the concrete street 1.5 inches and puts on a 1/2 inch wearing course and then a 1.5 inch rubberized asphalt topping on the whole thing. And I want to add fiber into that too. It's an added cost, not a big cost, but a lot of us have driven down concrete covered streets that have been paved over and it all starts popping off. It looks terrible. I don't want to be the person that did that. Sure. So, I think we're trying to be really smart with our budget to stretch the dollars, but not sacrifice quality and longevity. Right.
Well, thanks for that. And what is the latest on the Colorado Street Bridge barriers? My understanding, staff and public safety officials are currently studying mock-ups of two potential designs, vertical web mesh and metal pickets. What's the timeline look like for when that comes back to council and when the public will be able to see it and weigh in? And when do you think this will ultimately move forward?
That's an answer that's not up to me. I influence it, but there's a lot of pieces to that puzzle. Our current status right now is 2 mock-ups have been delivered in kit form, and our fire department is assembling them at their training facility. So we will assemble them there. There's actually like a platform and a back wall to simulate the bridge, and then these panels that are in kit form, they'll put them together. They will be evaluated for maintenance, for scalability, for durability, vandalism. We'll assess all those elements. But really the critical piece is the fire department's assessment of them. When we get feedback from them, if they like one or both, we will then probably, I believe, we'll move those mock-ups onto the bridge so you can kind of see them in their final place. Then we have the design review committee that also evaluates them, and we have the public safety committee also evaluates them. When we get through everybody's buy-off, and that's the part I don't know, they may not like them, or even the fire department may say these are too easy. There's a lot of things that could go wrong in this process to get to the finish line, to derail a timeline. But I'm hoping they're going to be assembled this month, probably tested out next month. If they're adequate to the fire department's opinion, we'll probably move them to the bridge maybe in August for more people to see them. Where the finish line is, I don't know at this point. It's just too many hands in the pot trying to get to the finish line.
Well, at least things are moving forward.
I know this has been a long time coming, and it's an important thing we get right.
Exactly.
But but it is moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's things going on behind this, staff working and the design firm working on this for the past several months, even though there hasn't been any, public facing.
I haven't been here all that long. Haven't even hit 7 months yet in Pasadena, but I realized that this has been an issue for years.
Right.
And I think we've already gone through, we're on probably our second design team now with this project.
Exactly. And finally, what can Pasadena residents do if they see issues that need to be addressed by Public Works?
If the issue is non-urgent, the best way, we have established a citizen service center in Pasadena that is, it's a terrific system. There's a phone number, there's a website, there's an app. You can even chat online. The way that works is we have a bunch of call center staff that receive messages, quite a lot of them. And our goal every time is within 24 hours of receiving something, it's routed out to the right department to handle it. And with many departments, it can be confusing sometimes. But it gets routed quickly. I think we're very responsive to it. It's a well-running system. I did bring the phone number. Just let me see. The phone number for the Citizen Service Center is 626-744-7311. Or you can find it online pretty easily. It's a good group of staff. They know where things should go. The system's quite responsive.
And it's under the Public Works Department.
It's in
right?
Public
Yes.
Works. It's in our administration division. In my role, we would prefer people report things that way.
Sure.
But in my role, I see emails from council members or council liaisons. This resident approached us with this. That's fine too, but ideally it goes through the service center.
Yeah. Well, and there's a phone app too, a mobile app that
There is a
people
phone
can
app
use
for
as well.
that.
So
I
there's
think you can
multiple
find it on the
ways.
website.
Yeah, exactly. It's a great tool. Well, Greg, thanks so much for coming on the show. I really appreciate it. We're glad to have you here in Pasadena. You obviously have a passion for Public Works, which is needed for something like this. So thank you so much for taking the time.
I am really happy to be here. I'm really having a good time. I'm enjoying this role. It's been an interesting time to be here, and I hope it just keeps going. I want to leave my mark that Public Works made life better.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thanks, Greg.
Thank you very
Appreciate
much.
it. Take
Thanks.
care. Before we go, here is this month in Pasadena history. It was this month in 2000, on June 26, 25 years ago yesterday, when the property-based business improvement district known as the Old Pasadena Management District was originally established by City Council. It was subsequently renewed in 2005, 2010, and 2015. The district is now seeking to renew for another 10 years. The district is a California nonprofit corporation led by Old Pasadena property owners, business owners, residents, and city management that's dedicated to protecting, preserving, and promoting Old Pasadena. The district utilizes revenue from a special property tax assessment on Old Pasadena properties, as well as city contributions, to fund programs that serve the collective interests of the owners, tenants, and residents of Old Pasadena. Those programs include cleaning and maintenance, public safety, historic preservation, homeless outreach, marketing, event support, community ambassadors, place-making improvements, parking, assistance for businesses in navigating city permitting processes, and more. The election to renew the PBID is underway right now among property owners in the district, and the results will come before the City Council on July 14th. Thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Pasadena Monthly. Tune in every fourth Friday of the month at 5 p.m. and learn more at pasadenamedia.org and justindouglaschapman.com. We'll see you next time.